Yeah, you definitely have to know your source. I always say that. People, if information is free and there's a lot of it to go around, people will tell you all day long what you should do, what they would do, how they would handle it. A, they probably wouldn't handle it that way. B, they're not you. You know what I'm saying? They don't know the whole story. And even if they do, it's all perspective. It's like, what lens are they looking at the world through? I mean, if you're the type of woman who lets your man cheat on you, you take a lot of shit from him, and then I tell you I'm mad because, he forgot my birthday, you'll be the first one, yeah, it's all good, it ain't nothing, it's just a birthday, blah, 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 because you take shit loads of crap from your man. So you'll be the first one to tell me I should take shit from my man. But on the flip side, you have those women who may be single or, are so staunch, like, not me. I'm never going to let a man do X, Y, and Z. And I tell you something that my man did, and now you want me to break up with him because you're miserable, and that's how and you're a single woman here trying to and I'm not saying that single people can't give married people advice and vice versa, but perspective is huge. And I think that married women,
someone looks out of and how they handle their own affairs has a huge feelings of how they're going to see your situation.
Exactly. And you got to just know your source. Like, I don't try to go to people because I want to hear what I want to hear, but I also have to know, that you just might not be the right person for this type of advice.
Yeah, I shut up about a lot of things about myself. I've learned to shut up a lot. There are things that I'm bursting to kind of just say flippantly if I'm excited about it or if it's new. But I know I got to reserve myself because if anything, it may be new now or it might be good now. But if it's not, do I want to talk about it to the same person that I just now gave them the information?
Exactly.
So I stop myself a lot from divulging or volunteering a lot of information because I'm like, I don't want someone to follow up and be like, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then now I got to talk to them about it. And then they got to give me their shitty perspective on it that I know I'm not going to really take. But now I got to let it seep into my psyche and let it fuck me up, you know?
Or I got to report back to you next time I see you about if I took your advice, if not, why, what I did.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of these people don't even give a damn. Like,
they just like to get in your business and say their piece and move on.
Yeah, people love to give advice, but the best people are the ones who give you advice that they would never take themselves.
Yeah.
I love that shit. You quick to tell me, oh no, you gotta let him know. You can't be taking that from so-and-so. And meanwhile, their boyfriend or husband just does all types of crap to them. And see, I'm not the kind of person to especially if I already know that what you're gonna do. If I know that he just did some vile shit to you, but you're not going nowhere because you haven't gone anywhere yet,
then I'm not gonna give you that kind of advice.
Yeah, because that's gonna fall on deaf ears. We're wasting each other's time. I'm not gonna tell you some shit, and you may talk to me like, "Yeah, girl, you're right. I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z." But I know, and next weekend you're gonna be right back there waiting for the next the next shoe to drop. So why would I even say that and waste my time? I don't got time. I don't have that much time.
I do the same. You're right. It's the same thing. I stopped giving advice and I shut up too. I shut up in a lot of ways. I shut up when I know if it's a waste of time, I will not say anything. I gave the bare minimum. I'll throw the question back at them if I don't feel like, if I know, I'm not going to go all in on some real profound shit or some detailed advice if I know they're not going to take it. So I throw the question at, well, what do you think about that?
Exactly.
Well, do you want to leave him? I'll do that and then let them ponder on it and they get caught up in their own shit that my advice, didn't even resonate.
Yeah.
And I'm out. And, so I definitely...
See, I don't like wasting my breath and my time. I'm not going to go hard and deep with you if you're just going to end up, it's going to be status quo anyway. Yeah. So I'll listen to you. I'll listen to the crap. And, you don't really want my advice though, because what I really think you're not going to do anyway. So what's the point? But I think
it's already been demonstrated that you haven't taken any advice. I don't mean you to take my advice verbatim, but you did nothing. You did the exact opposite.
Yeah.
It's like, why should I'm not going to invest my time in that if you haven't even tried one of the advice,
But see, I think it takes a very mature person to step outside of their situation and to give objective advice.
Right.
Because even though I may not be prepared to do what I may tell you to do, I'll give you both sides of the scenario. Be like, you know what? I know it's hard to leave, and I know you have, many reasons why it's not good time, why you shouldn't. I said, so, I'm not going to tell you to leave your man or your husband because of, even if he cheated on you, I'm not going to be the one to tell you to leave, because I do think couples can get past that, and it's not my place. However, you do have to, if you're going to stay, you have to make some changes so that this is not a common thing.
That he doesn't feel comfortable that he can do it and just kind of run with it.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Or, my thing is like, okay, well, if you're going to stay, how do you know that this is not going to happen again? Are you okay if this happens again? Like, what's your, how would you feel if you knew that he was still seeing this chick 6 months later? Like you said, ask questions that make them think. So you come to your own conclusion. Ask questions that you're not even thinking about so that you can look at all the information and make your best decision, as opposed to just, I don't want to just sit here and just, and have a bitching fest about, oh, men ain't shit. And that's right. And they ain't.
I don't do that. I don't contribute to that anymore. When I used to give advice, my advice used to always be, I know it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
I used to always say that. I'd give it and be like, I know it's easier said than done. So I'm not expecting it to be like, poof, oh, he's out. You know what I mean? But think about moving towards, if you want to leave, moving towards that final leaving. Take steps towards that. Yeah. Or at least get your eggs in a row, or whatever it is that you need to do in order to have that strength to kind of like not look back. Yeah. You know what I mean? But and I used to always say, when you'll know too.
Yes.
You've had it. I never was this delusional in this woman like, oh, you need to leave him now. Yeah. And then if they didn't, oh, girl, I can't talk to you. You stupid.
Yeah. Because, too, like, not only is it just not realistic, it's not, you also don't want it to be a situation that I done dogged your man, your husband out to you while you were mad. And then when you guys make up, now you remember everything negative I said about him. And you may feel uncomfortable being in our presence. You know what I'm saying? Because now I've done dogged him out, so you were like, I don't know, I don't want to talk about him in front of her because she hates him, or she thinks he's X, Y, and Z, or, it could just get so awkward and so ugly.
Yeah.
Especially if the man knows that you know his business.
Right. So I think that just takes a mature woman not to divulge everything like that, especially if she knows that she's upset at the moment, and she knows she needs a sounding board.
Yeah.
She knows that she's not leaving him. Then I don't care if I'm your bestest friend. There's certain things that are between two couples.
That's true.
And I think best friends would definitely respect that. I think that's why we've been friends for so long. Yeah. I don't think we get into it in terms of, like, we talk a lot about a lot of our relationship, but I think there's still a respect on you. There are things that's between you and that person, and there are things between me and that person, and you respect that. And I think it's for the greater good, Yeah. But I don't think any of our boyfriends have been that horrible where we keep some soul. Oh, he slammed me, girl. I'm never going to tell you that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's never been any kind of like, but whatever it is, we still respect the privacy.
Yeah.
Of what you're telling me.
Exactly.
And if there's more to it, I don't need to know if there's more. If there's more, she'll tell me. If there's more, and she doesn't want to tell me, she doesn't want to tell me.
Yeah.
Where some people really feel like they feel like they have to divulge everything.
Yeah. Every last ugly detail.
Especially if you're going to still be with the person.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't want to know because I don't love him the way you love him. So if you tell me some really ratchet shit, I'm not going to be able to look at him the same way.
No,
I'll respect him.
You can't expect me to.
Yeah, I'll respect him for you. I'll acknowledge him. I'll be cool in front of him. But my interest is you. If I love you and somebody's mistreating you, that person will never be 100% in my eyes because
it's always going to be a side eye.
Yeah.
And you made it possible. You made it possible.
Exactly, because you're my interest. So I can't be completely objective, but I can be mature. Yeah. And maturity is just like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm never going to talk to you. Well, there is one person who I don't know how mature I can be in front of, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That chick. But other than her, every one of my friends' partners, I'll just, I'll have to eat that. That's the hard part of being a friend. Friendship is not always going to be, cherries and cake and ice cream. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be some hard parts, but that's I signed up for that when I called you my friend. So I'll work through it. You know what I'm saying? But truth be told, I still may not like him, but I'll always be respectful. And I think, and my opinion will always be as objective as I can be. Yeah. If you're wrong, I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
It's like the 500th time that he done did this, I'll always be like, well, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Exactly. How do you feel about it? Yeah? You think you're still okay with renewing your vows next year? All right, well, I'll be there.
Yeah, you care about him putting that foot up in your ass?
Yeah.
All right. That's what you're rolling with.
Yeah.
I'm falling and kikied up with you.
Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to go on a couple's vacation, but, I'll do my best. And, and maybe that's when you notice to fall back and not tell me certain things. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you said, we've been fortunate. We never really had men in our lives that were so ratchet. But
no, right.
But even
where it's unbearable to be like, oh, I can't even. I'm really faking this right now.
Yeah. But there have been some ugly things that have happened, and I don't know that I've told my friends everything because I knew I wasn't ready to leave. Right. So what's the point? Now you're gonna hate him. Now you're gonna look at me like I'm a sucker. It just didn't make no sense. So it's like this is something I'm gonna have to eat. Yeah. And just deal with it on my own. Put my big girl drawers on and just deal with it until I'm ready. And after I break up with him, I can tell you all the good, bad, and ugly. Let me tell you what this dude did, after the fact, when he's no longer a factor.
Right, exactly. Yep.
But not during it. But I just think that it's so hard. That's the thing that frustrates me with people. I know it's not easy to give objective information, but again, like you said, it takes time. It takes a moment for you to step outside the situation, leave your shit and your baggage on the shelf, and look at the situation for what it is, as opposed to just jumping in, you know what I'm saying? Guns blazing. Nah, this is what I would do. It's so hard, and it makes it hard to seek advice from people because people come to it with their bullshit. They can't separate the two. You got to look at somebody's situation for what it is. Like, I used to hate when, and I'll tell you, I've been through some shit in the last couple of years, and it's been hard on me, but I feel like things are getting better, and I feel like it happened to me for a reason, to teach me lessons, to also to be a testimony for other people, to see people in situations, and I have been in this situation, and so I can tell them honestly, like, yo, it sucks, but you're gonna get through it because I've been through it, and I know firsthand what you're going through. So it's like, that's why at AA meetings they have alcoholics speak, because nobody's testimony is going to be as true as somebody who's walked in their shoes. Right. So I'm going to take my what do you call it? Tribute, my trials, and I think there's something positive to come out of it. Right. But I say all this to say, hold on, that it's made me become much more aware of other people and much more sensitive to other people's issues, because I could have been easily that person who didn't understand, didn't get it. Be like, how is it that she can't do this? Or why is it that he can't do that? Or if he really, he really wanted to, he would this. And realize it's not that easy. You know what I'm saying? No. It's so easy from the outside looking in to judge other people and say what they should have, could have, would have done. But when you're in that situation, it's a whole different story. Yeah. And I needed that.
Personalities and how they handle things, so you may come out of something a lot quicker than somebody else, but it doesn't mean that, that's not less of a person because they have different stages to go.
Mm-hmm. And everything has to happen in their time. Everybody's circumstances are different, and I'm much less judgmental than I used to be.
Too. But I think life just allows that experience where you're just less judgmental because of the life that you live and the things that you see that you like. Everybody's going through something, and everybody has a story, and you never know what their situation is, where they're coming from.
But what's funny though? It's like I've seen people who have been through situations, and maybe it's specific to one thing, but they're still insensitive to other people. Like, I've seen people who let's just say had a bad relationship with a man, and then turn around and don't understand when they see somebody else in the same situation they used to be in. Like, to me, that's the utmost.
They seem like foreign.
Yeah, like.
The thing about that too, people always think their situation is so different from somebody else.
Yeah.
Sometimes they think, well, yeah, I went through that, but this my thing. It's almost as a woman saying, yeah, I know he was cheating on me with his wife, but I'm different. That's that foreign kind of, there's no connection to it that he would ever do something to me. But it's like you came out of the same situation, so I don't understand how you would be.
How could you be insensitive to something when you've been there?
Right.
I mean,
some people, it's foreign to them because they really view their situation as so different from anybody else's.
Or they're so hyped off the fact that they're no longer there that they brand new.
Oh, right. That's true, too.
Where they just, like, they don't... You could have been, like, that's like a person who used to be homeless and then 20 years later stepping over homeless people like, yo, they just need to get a job.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you say that knowing your situation? Even if you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps, so to speak.
People forget.
Not everybody can do what you did.
People forget. They feel that their situation, again, is, I'm not like them.
Yeah.
Like, I was homeless.
I'm better, yeah.
I wasn't homeless like that homeless person. I don't know what the difference would be. But they somehow, in their mind, the mind is a really powerful thing in terms of how people trick themselves into thinking that they're so separate from a lot of shit.
When we're all really the same.
Yeah, but people will convince you that whatever situation that you're going through, their situation is just so much either harder or different or better, whatever it is that they can convince you and be so far removed from it.
Yeah. And that's sad because my thing is like, even if you feel removed, like, again, it takes effort to stop and just be like, you know what? Right now, I'm removed from it, but let me try to think back. Let me try to remember how I felt when I was in that situation.
Empathy. Like, some people just are without empathy. Even if they haven't been through anything, they're just without empathy.
That's true.
They just don't, they can't relate. They can't, for the moment, ever empathize with a situation. Yeah. Some people just
or they don't want to. Kind of like, I never forget, it was the Democratic National Convention, and Michelle Obama spoke. And her speech was so good, and she was saying that it's our duty as people who have come, like, you know, she grew up poor, Obama grew up poor, and speaking to the people who kind of are the exception to the rule, who made it out, so to speak. It's our job to help those behind us, just like somebody helped them, and not shut the door right behind us.
Right.
But that's what so many people do. It's like they make the cut, and it's like, I made the cut. Oh, well, you know, too bad for y'all behind me. You know, and there's...
Somehow the people behind them seem more lazy, less reluctant, you know what I mean?
But they don't recognize that somebody held the door open for them. Somebody helped them get to where they were. And they don't see, they think, I guess they're so different that it's like they deserved it where the people behind them don't, or they feel like it's a lot of that zero sum mentality in our world where people feel like if I'm successful, you have to be unsuccessful. If I'm rich, you've got to be poor. If I'm if I'm famous, you have to be whatever. Like we all can't eat. You know, and that's the sad part because...
Like the money is somehow running out, the cameras are somehow...
Yeah, like it's rationed out, you know? And like if you live in New York City, and I'm sure it's the same thing in L.A., it's so sad, especially this time of year, to see homeless people in New York. New York City is one of the richest cities on the globe. You know, you look at the financial district, you look at how much money is flowing through the treasury and all of these industries. And then you see homeless people sitting outside. Like, you see all the money, the food that's wasted every day and thrown out. And you see people who are begging for a cookie. Like, the irony of it is just, like, it's heart-wrenching. Because there is more than enough to go around. But those who have it are clinging to it and don't really even need all of it. But it's just because it's mine and it's not yours. So they create a situation of the haves and the have-nots where there are people who literally can't eat, and there are people who have more money than they could ever spend in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's just it becomes a thing. It becomes a worldwide thing where people feel like we can't all achieve. So it's like, I got to knock you down in order for me to be all right. I got to knock you off this boat so that I could survive. When it's really not a situation when we both could sit on the boat. But
yeah, they don't have to worry about that though. You know, they definitely don't want to have to worry about because it means that if I put you on the boat with me, then I have to watch whether you come up with a better plan or a better something that might, you know what I mean? They don't want to have to at any point have to watch you in case you do something great and now takes them out of the spotlight, which is so interesting because you can't stay in the spotlight forever.
No.
There's always, the tables always turn to some degree.
And when it comes to things like money, you can have your money and you can have the things you need in life. What does that have to do with anybody else? Like, that's why I don't understand, not to get political, and because we're running out of time, but it's just like, the whole Republican Party, like, why do you care that people are getting free health care? Why does that bother you so much?
Right.
Why are you so bothered by the fact that other people have the ability to go to the doctor?
Right.
It just makes no sense.
It doesn't take away that you can go to the doctor.
But it's just like, and then of course they make it about money and all this other stuff, and we're paying for it, blah, blah, blah. But then on the flip side, even if you want to be selfish and make it about money, well, you know what? It does cost you less money in the long run, because now these people aren't using the ER as your routine doctor. And because when they come to the ER and they don't have insurance, the government's paying for it anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just sad that people this country is just so about, like, we have, so you can't have, and it's just...
It's all about perception and how people see things.
Yeah, how they want to be perceived.
Yeah, to tie it back in, it's all on the lens that they're looking out of is somehow askew in some way. So as long as we're all looking at different things differently, then it's always going to be a fight or a bout with something. Because the mind is a really powerful thing, and if you believe something, whether it's a religion or a thought about yourself or a thought about a specific type of people or a circumstance, unless you're willing to step back and change that thought, it's going to get anyone out of living and making certain choices that they're going to make based on what they really believe to be true for them.
Yeah.
And they'll continue to put that energy off on other people and give bad advice or give advice that they think may be good advice, but they're seeing it. And so the only thing that we could do for ourselves is to really step back and think about where the source, where the chatter is coming from, that's intended or not, and really look within ourselves and make the final decision based on not the chatter. And that's why, like we said, we tell less people and we make the decision undercover, like, and then if people know, they know. If you want to announce it after it's done already, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But in the decision making, the less people we have involved, the better. Because people come with all different shapes of how they see the world.
Yeah, it's true. And you're right. It becomes cluttered and it becomes noise.
Yeah, and that's what's been fucking with me a lot of my life in terms of too much outside noise and not enough internal kind of like, this really, I've never really stepped back in a very long time to think about who I'm listening to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that is an impact on how we make decisions.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
you're 100% right. That's true. It's coming. The manual is here and we are reading, so. Yeah. It's a good thing.
And highlighting stuff and throwing it. The good thing about these podcasts is that we bounce those ideas off each other to kind of keep ourselves in check. Like, okay, I'm not insane here.
Yeah. Definitely, we are.
Because every so often I hear you in my head like, this is some shit. You know what I mean? Like, they're a constant voice in my head as well. And so, like, when we come like this on every week to do these things, they really help.
Oh, definitely.
I'm hoping that our listeners also take a lot away from that and kind of make some changes in their lives, or or
at least just acknowledge some of the things that's going on. I mean, that's the first step. You acknowledge what you're doing or not doing, and then looking at how it's affecting your life and where the gaps are between where you are and where you want to be, and then making the necessary steps to get yourself closer. Awareness is key. So thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with some more hot topics, and
we try to leave you on a deep note.
Yeah, man, deep. You got to get a life jacket sometimes.
Yeah.
And just and float away with this information, because it's not for those who don't want to process deep information.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Well, you take care of that cold.
Thank you. You too. You get better and you have fun at work tonight. And we
especially, I'm not doing that now, but once I start to work, once the cough comes back and the runny nose, watch.
Oh, it sucks.
Always when you're in a situation where you don't want to be.
I know. All right, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good night.
All right, good night.